Good evening and welcome to Facebook Live on Friday evening. Oh good, I was going to say I'm a little bit early, but lovely, people are joining us. Oh, I didn't get my computer. I'm going to get my computer. I knew I hadn't done something. Hello Helen, hello Jackie, hi Christine. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to get my computer. Hi Janine, and it does help me when I can see the comments and everything, so bear with while I just bring it up. Hi Shell, hi Sue. I'm sorry if I've missed anybody so far. Get the right page up. Hi Andreen, hi Gaynor. Right, let's bring my page down. Hi Catherine. Yay, there we are. That one? No, not that one. Let's try that one. Get rid of that. Okay, so I'm sorry, I've missed all the names now. Hi Patsy. Let's go back. I can whiz back on my computer now. Oh my goodness, there's lots of you. So Helen and Jackie and Christine and Janine and Katie and Shell and Sue and Andreen and Gaynor and Catherine and Maxine and Christine and Jane and Lorraine and Kathy and Penny and Jill and Sarah and Belinda and Mary and Jane and Patsy and Joe and Laxmi and Brenda and Jennifer and Dawn, Jane, hello lovely, Carol and all that just whizzed up, Kathy and Joe and Gemma and Joan and Elaine. Okay, I think. Oh, and Judith and Wendy. Hello, lovely. Okay, so brilliant, excellent. Okay, we've got loads watching. That's fantastic, especially for a late notification. And yeah. Oh, Joan, I posted you something. I hope you've got it. And if you haven't got it today, then you should get it tomorrow. But there's something on the way. Hi, Lynn. And hi Sandy, you've got something on the way as well, Sandy. Sorry about that, I really am sorry about that. Hi Joe, hi Christine. Oh that's lovely, thank you. Hi Anne. Okay, well there's loads of you, brilliant. So I was planning my Facebook Live this afternoon and I got all the sample cards out to go with each of the different dies, and I thought this is an awful lot for one evening, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on one die set and I'm going to do another 3 lives, but that'll be during probably next week. So I won't do anything over the weekend, especially with it being Mother's Day on Sunday and what have you. So I will do one tonight and then probably, I don't know, I'll let you know what evenings next week, but I'm going to concentrate on different things that you can do with each of the different dies, because I thought they're so versatile, and just some of the sample cards that the design team did really inspired me, and thought need to really show, you know, everybody that that's what you can use them for. So I am going to flip the camera and I'm going to make some cards this evening. So yes, you received today. Excellent. That's brilliant, Joan. Perfect. I'm going to flip the camera and have a look at the boards and everything, and then some samples, and then I've got 3 cards to make. Let's see if I do. Okay, bear with. Sorry about my hand. Okay, let's bring my light back in now so it's not shining on me. Hi Di, hope you're well, lovely. It's really lovely that you're here. Oh, Di used to be an editor of the magazines and used to deal with Di all the time, doing different commissions and everything for her. So that's really lovely. Okay, let me see if I can position the camera a bit better. Okay. All right, so going to talk about the rectangle die this evening. Hi Michelle. And the reason that I picked the rectangle die was mainly because of Joe's card that she created, which I absolutely love, and how she's used the little diamond that comes in here to actually make herself a stencil. And I thought this was so clever. So I had to copy it. And so I will show you, got marks on your, oh, that's better. So I will show you my version of what I'm going to make. So this is what I'm going to make tonight. So I made myself a stencil from the little diamond. So just from a piece of, I used the watercolour card. This was an offcut that my good friend gave me, and I die cut the diamond lots of times, spaced it out. It's not perfectly even, but it was good enough for me, and it just gives you this lovely background, so it gives it some interest and just a different way to use your dies. So maybe not what you would think to do with your dies, but just makes them more versatile. So that was my card that inspired that one. Then I have, actually, I think these are both Jo's, yeah. Then I was totally inspired by this one of Jo's, where she's actually die cut the rectangle, I think probably into a bit of masket, where she's then been able to put that down so that she's masked the edge of her colour from her rectangle. I actually created a stencil again. Let me get my piece of card. So what I did was I cut a rectangle, not very straight, and I would advise you to cut it straight because it's much easier. But what I did was, and I'm going to show you this, I held it up against the light so I could position my card where I needed it to go. And then on the back of my stencil, I've marked with a pen. So I now know where to put my card. So next time I will just place my card, not even look at the front, place my card inside the pen lines, and I can tape it down, and then I know it's in the right place then for when I come to do my ink in. So, but I just went over the top, so I didn't create the mask around the edge. My flowers overlap, and I did it like an ombre. So it's deeper at the bottom than it's paler at the top. And I'm only using saltwater taffy. Oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful colour. It is stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. So that was what I did for that one. And then my last one, I don't think this was inspired by anybody. I created another stencil. So I die cut the scallop and put that down. Again, I lined up where it was to go on my card, and I just marked the back, top and bottom. So I know, again, I didn't cut it very straight, so good idea to cut them straight. I did actually cut stencils from all of the dies, so I've got different shapes. Oh, look at that. I've just seen that that could be layered up, so I could do that one and then put this one in the middle in a different colour. So they would layer up. You could have them, this would, you could make a really lovely retro card with stenciling different shapes through it. Yeah, so that was my third, that's my third card that I'm going to do. So let's just quickly show you the stencils. So this is the set that you get. So this is the rectangles, and you get your 5 dies. And when you cut die, the first die, which I will try and make this make sense. So when I cut this die, this is going to give me these two things, because we've got this double line here. This will cut the frame, but then it also cuts out that middle part. So you get those two pieces from that, just that cut in that one die. So then when you cut the second one, you get the lovely scallop, but you get this with the lovely embossing on it as well. Then when you cut the third die, you get a rectangle, but when you cut the fourth die, again, because it's got this double line, you're going to get the frame and you're going to get the inside piece, and the inside piece has got some embossing on it as well. So all those different bits and pieces, and then obviously you get your, what did I have that? Oh, there we go. If I do it that way, you can see it. Then obviously you get the diamond as well. So they're all the 5 different dies. Then when you start layering them together, when you layer 1 and 4 together, so we put this one and this one together, and I tape them together. So I use either Scotch removable tape, or I've got some blue painter's tape. So I tape them together, and then this is going to produce these 4 cuts from those two. Then when I put die 1 with die 3, again taping them together before I die cut them, this is what I'm going to get. So that was what I was trying to explain, which isn't very easy. I should have done it with the dies as well. And then when you take die 2 and die 3 and take them together, this is what you'll get. So you get this lovely skinny scallop frame, but you get the layer, the mat as well. And then when you do it with the smaller die, obviously you get a wider frame, and then you'll get the 2 middle pieces as well. So I've done that one and that one. And so this shows where I did it on the Miri card. So this is just showing you the lovely embossings, because they really show up well on the Miri card. So that's what you get with your rectangle. So I'm going to move these all out of the way now. And I'm going to show you just a few of the sample cards, because I do think that, I know we've seen some of them, or most of them, but they just warrant another look because they're so beautiful. I love this. And where I cut my stencil, I now have all those diamonds cut that I can actually use and colour like Marion did to create this card. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And she used one of the skinny frames that you get as well, and she coloured that with all the colours that she's got on her diamonds. So really clever. Then I love this one of Jo's, where she's used the little flower. This is actually from the hexagon set, but she's used the rectangle frame and built it up to create her vase. Then Kaz has made this, I think it was Kaz. No, it's Jo, I beg your pardon. So Jo's cut a frame and an aperture, and then used the piece from the inside of the frame on her inside of her card. And I think she might have used the plant stick to create her shelf, and just, oh, that's really clever, Jo. I love that with the cactuses. And then with mine, I've got the frame of the glitter card around the edge, and then I've got the lovely piece to go in it as well. And then again, super for sentiments. I've just seen a message from Hazel that she forgot. She messaged me right before. Never mind. So this is a lovely way to really, with the frame done in a contrasting colour, it really does make it pop off the card then. And then this is the one I did on air. So this was the demo that I did, where I die cut an aperture and a frame and put Kaz's flowers inside. This is the one that Jo did that I think is so clever. I don't think she's used the rectangle for that one, though I did put it in the rectangles one. Oh, and I haven't got only Kaz's stamps, don't I? Bear with. It was the plant stick. I thought it was. That's really clever. So what Jo did here, where she's used, and I thought this was so clever, I would never have thought of doing this. So she's actually inked the flat side of the stamp to give her all these colours around the actual detail of the stamp. So she's put her ink on the flat side and stamped that out with the colour, and then put the detail on the inside. I thought that was really clever as well. And we've got a beautiful one here from Philippa, and again she's used all the matte layers from the rectangle dies, and I love how she's done her sentiment, but she's put her plants on the top as well. Really lovely. This one is from Marion, and she's used the skinny frame and the matte layer to do her stamping. This one is Kaz's, I believe. I'm sure it is. And Kaz has used the scallops rectangle to do the plants and her little bird with her stones, which she was so desperate to have. And I love this of Philippa's. I didn't even notice this to start with. Well, I did notice it, but I didn't realise, rather, that it was the diamond. I actually thought it was like tape, but it's actually, she's die cut the diamonds out of glitter card and put them together to create that lovely border. It's beautiful. Imagine that in reds and greens. Like, you could do a border on a card for Christmas. Even if you did it top and bottom and just a word in the middle would look lovely. And then I love this one of Hazel's, where she's used the diamond to create like a sun around her daisy button. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. And she's also used the rectangle as well there. And then again, another one of Marion's where she's used the scallop rectangle to do her stamping on. One of mine where I did it in glitter card, and it even shows the embossing on the glitter card. And then I've used the circle flowers and then a punch in the middle. And then this one is, the last one is Philippa's, where she's done the rectangles and used the skinny frame around the edge of it as well. But she's used it with the garden blooms. She's cut all those out. Wow, just realised that. Amazing. So they're the samples. I'm going to put them to one side. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live for each of the dies because I think they warrant it. I really do. So we'll start with our first card. So we'll do this one first. So let me get my bits. So I've got my card blank, and I've already, obviously because I made it, die cut. So I die cut the biggest rectangle. So I die cut this one out of there. I've obviously got a skinny frame, and I've got the mat ready for which I can use for another card. But so this is how I created the actual stencil. So like I say, this time, because I've marked where the card needs to go, I can just place it down. Need to put it so the card's going the right way. So you have to have the score line to the right and the opening to the left, so it's done the right way round. So now I can just place this down on here, and I can tape it in place with some Scotch Magic tape. And now I know it's in the right position. Now what I did the first time when I was trying to find out where the right position was, I actually held my card up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring my light in enough, but I put my card, no I'm not, I put my card behind my light so I could see through it. And then I was able to position it using the light around the edge of my card. This card that I'm doing here is a 6x4. So this one's a 6x4, just a regular like C6 card. So I've got that in place now. And now I'm going to take my saltwater taffy, which I think is probably going to be one of my favourites because it is just such a beautiful colour. And I'm going to load my brush up. Oh, I want to get rid of that light, don't I? That's a bit better. Right, so I'm going to load my brush up. Don't be frightened to load your blending brush up. You're going to get much better blending if you have lots of ink on there rather than a little bit of ink. I always take it off a little bit before I start on my card. And I'm going to start at the bottom because that's the place where I want it to be darker. And I'm just going to go around little circular motions and just build that colour up. You're not going to do it in one go. So I'm going to come back in, load my brush, take the excess off and come back in. You want to start gently. Just build that colour up. Doesn't matter how long it takes you to do. I'm going to go all the way to the top now so I get a little bit of ink starting to show at the top now. Pick some of this ink up on here. Always start at the bottom because that's where the darkest colour is going to be, and then I can just blend that really softly up to the top. And I'll pick some more ink up. Again, take the excess off and then come back in. And you just want to do it until you've got a nice soft blend that's going off virtually up to nothing. So I think I'm quite happy with that. I've got a little bit of a line there, so I could just work that a little bit more. And what you can do is just lift one side and have a look. So we're still taped together, and if you're happy with how it looks, and I am, that's fine. So we can take that off. Obviously, because I did this out of watercolour card, I can use this again and again and again, and then when I need a new one, I just make another one. So just die cut another aperture. So I take my tape off, put that to one side because that's still clean. I'll be able to use that again. And you can really see the colour, and it just blends so beautifully together. So now I'm going to take move that up a little bit, put my lid on. I think I will actually wipe my ink up. I wasn't going to, but I will because I don't want to get in a mess. So bring my press in, and I'm going to put my card in, hold it down top and bottom, and then I'm going to take, let's put these over here. I'm going to use my Daisy Blooms, and I'm going to place that down over the top. Now, if you didn't want the flowers, if you wanted it to be like Joe's, let me find Joe's card. So where she's got her flowers contained inside her colour, I could put my tape down the edges. And that would, in fact, I'm going to, so we've got a different card for this one from the original one. Then you can see both. So if you want your flowers to, your petals to overhang the colour, then don't put the tape down. And if you want the petals to stay inside the colour, then do put the tape down. So I'm just running it along the edge. Bring it right up close. Let's hold that down again. And then we can put our stamp back on, close our door, and then we'll get the, I'm going to use VersaFine, the black VersaFine, and just gently tap on my stamp so that that's nice and inked up. And then bring my press over just gently with your fingers. You don't need to like push through to Australia or anything. You're just applying a nice amount of pressure. You don't want to lose the detail that we've put in on the stamp. So now when I take this off, you need to be careful with your tape because your ink is going to be wet that's on here. So what I normally do is I'm going to put them down on here. Because I want to be able to use them again, if I place them on my glass mat, I'll show you a little trick. Well, it's not a trick, but I'll show you what to do. Okay, so now you can see that all my inking is inside that colour. So it's a bit different. It's a different look, but it's lovely. I think that's really, yeah, I love both of them. So it's really nice that you can see the difference as well. So let me take my card out. Let's move that out of the way. So what I would do with this, because I don't want to waste that tape, I just get my cloth. I can wipe that ink off, and then I'm not going to get that black ink on anything else, but it means I can still use my tape. So that'll be ready for my next one to hold it in place. Because I like to use it as often as I can until the stick has gone. Okay, so let me bring this back in. I just need a little bit of water, and I clean my stamp. So I am pretty good at keeping my stamps clean. I know there's a lot of people, mentioning no names, Mrs. Eaton, who doesn't clean her stamps. But it's just, I don't know, it's something I've got into the habit of doing, so I do always clean my stamps. Now, on this one, I had It's Your Time to Bloom. So let's put a different sentiment. I love this one. I love this. So I'm going to have Wishing You the Happiest of Birthdays. I love this stamp. So I'm going to place this down. Going to use it on my colour. Keep it in the colour. Make sure I got it lined up nicely. Just tap with my ink pad so gently. Now this is when we do fairy fingers. So you're literally just pushing down so that you get a really nice impression and you don't splay out. If you press too hard, because the polymer stamps are soft, they'll splay out and then you'll spoil the lovely fine text that we've done. Now the one thing I will say is that VersaFine, I don't know if I can pick it up on the camera. Let me have a look. But the VersaFine stays wet for quite a while. So you do need to just be very mindful of touching the VersaFine. Sometimes I will heat them. So just literally give it a blast with the heat tool, just to help that finish off drying. If I heat the front, I heat the inside as well. So that helps to keep my card nice and flat, because it does have a tendency to want to curl once you start heating on the front. So So once I've done that, and then the other thing that my good friend taught me is you have a piece of kitchen roll, you put it down over the top, you don't move it, so you hold it in place, and then you just rub over, and sometimes you'll get a really good impression of it on your kitchen roll, but that's fine. So I know now that it's dry enough for me. I won't smudge it now. And now I just want got to put some little glosses on here. So I've got some hearts. Oh, look at that perfect pink heart. Now normally I would pick these up with my nail, but I've broken all my nails at the moment. It's typical because I was going on the television that I break all my nails. So just one little glossy heart underneath there, that's all it needs. And then the only other thing that I did to my original one was I added glitter glue. Now I'm going to go over this because I think it was Jill was asking me about the glitter glue, and she was saying that she gets splodges. Now she was using glitter and glue, but I only ever, I want to get rid of that light. So, I can put the card over it. There we go. I only ever use Stickles glitter glue, and I use Stardust because it's not got a colour in it, and it takes on whatever colour you put that is underneath. So here it's going to be like quite iridescent because I'm doing it over the top of the black. If you do it over the top of the pink, it will be pink and sparkly. So I'm going to swap these cards over so we can hide that light again. So all I've done is the centre of the flowers. So I get the glue down to the nozzle end. Sorry, I was going to explain how to use it. So sometimes I will run it through my hands. It also helps to warm it up and it will flow nicely, but it gets the glue down to the nozzle end. And that way you don't get any air in it and it doesn't go all over your card. So just give it a squeeze, and then I'm barely squeezing, really, really gently, because you don't need a lot. It's so sparkly, and I just scribble with the nib. I'm not doing anything particularly precise. I am now because I'm going down the stem, and down the leaves, the branch of the leaves. And then I just want a little bit in each of the leaves as well, just to add that little, it just catches the light. And it just adds that, it really does add something. So yeah, Stickles, Stardust Stickles, highly recommend it. And there we go. So that's our first card. Got slightly more colour on this one at the top there. This is a little bit paler, but that just depends on how heavy you go with your inking and your blending. So if you want it to be really, really pale at the top, just remember to go really soft. So that's my first card. Let's put that out of the way. And we will move on to our second card. So thank you, Jo, for the inspiration. And we're going to do this one next. So this is another 6x4 card. And like I said, I've cut myself a stencil. Again, I didn't cut it very straight or even on either side. But I know that if I place this down on my card, so I did actually hold it up to the light. I'm going to do it again and see if I get it. So you need to give it an equal border. And then when I turn it over, I know that these lines, I actually drew those lines on. So that should be about right. So let's put a bit of tape on this one. And a bit of tape on the bottom. And as long as I think my border is about the same. Yeah, I don't think, I'll be happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to shut my card because I prefer to work with it shut. And I'm going to bring my saltwater taffy back in, load my brush back up again. And again, take the excess off. And now I started off by just going around the edge of the rectangle. So not trying to cover the whole lot, but really working into those scallops. So take your time. And like I say, little circular motions, just going round and round. Always take the excess ink off and then come in very gently before you start blending again. You can increase the pressure, but when you come back in and start again with a new loaded up brush, just take your time with applying the pressure to the actual brush. So just come in gently to start with. You can blend away so that you blend over the joins, if you like. I do like to move my card around. I find it much easier. Again, just load your brush up. Don't be afraid of the ink that you're putting on, but again, just very gently when you come back in. Otherwise, you will end up with marks otherwise. Okay, then what I did in the middle here was I just very, very gently went over the top. So it's got a little bit of ink on it, but I wanted it to have a bit of that white sort of, or lightness in the centre. So when you're happy with what you've done, let's get rid of that. Oh no, I won't get rid of the ink yet. Oh, I will, because I'll show you what I did. Okay, I won't get rid of the ink yet. So take my tape off again, top and bottom. And when I take that off, you've got that lovely shape all the way around. So I think it just looks lovely. So then I stamped out my little flower that comes on in the set. So this comes in my Daisy Buttons set. And, oh, not that brush. That would make not a good job of it. Let's have the one that works. Yep. So then I'm going to pick up some of the ink with my water brush and just apply some colour. So just so I've got a wash all over my flower. I will go back in and put some detail in, but I just like to get the initial colour down first of all. And I did do my leaves pink as well. Now, I only did that because I wanted it all to be the same colour. And then I can come back in, pick up a bit more of the ink, and I can come back in and add more colour to the centre of the flower, and also where the lines are on each of the petals, and a bit darker down the middle of the leaves as well. So then I can leave that to dry and I can cut it out. So true Blue Peter style, one I prepared earlier. Let's get rid of that ink now. So before I put my flower on, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I'm going to bring my press back in and put my card in and hold it in place. And I'm going to decide which sentiment to use. So I use the sentiments from the floral buttons. I used On Your Special Day and Happy Birthday, and I've got Thinking of You here. I think I might do Thinking of You for a change. Thinking of You on your special day. There you go. It could be a wedding card. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a birthday card. So let's make sure that's straight without putting my head in the camera. And pick those up. And then just nicely tapping it with my ink pad, only gently. And then just literally touching down to get the beautiful, beautiful stamp in then. You don't lose any of the detail of that lovely fine font by just really, really going gently. So, yeah, when I was saying fairy fingers, that is what I meant. So I'm going to do the little flower above it. Last time I put a little heart, which is in the Daisy stamp set again. But this time I'm going to stamp, and I will need to stand up to do this bit. So I'm going to put that one above. Pick that up, and again, just a light tap. Ooh, I'm going to take that off before I stamp, just in case. Really nice and light with my fingers. Give it a clean, and then I'm going to put it underneath as well this time. See if I can line it up. I do love these. I think that's what makes the stamp sets for me, is it's just all the little elements that, you know, it makes such a difference. Just adding that little heart, just adding these little flowers really does do, you know, add interest to your card. Okay, so happy with that. Put the flower back. So now I've got my flower ready to go on my card as well. But I'm just going to give this a blast because it's the same as before. I don't want my ink to get smudged at all. So I'm going to do the inside as well because that just helps to bring the card back into shape. And keep that nice and straight because I heated both sides. And then I will come in with my bit of kitchen roll and just push over it and make sure that it doesn't pick any black ink up. So that's nice and dry now. Now I went ahead and cut one out, and I also cut into my petals so that I can curl and shape these and the leaves just so they've got a little bit of dimension, so a little bit of interest. And I'm going to pop this down in that corner. I think I'm going to stick it on with a foam pad just to raise it up a little bit. That'll add a bit more interest. So we'll have that right down in that corner. And then I went round with a white gel pen. Let's bring the other one back in so we can cover that horrible light up. And I just went round with a white gel pen. I should have tested it before I came to my card. If you tap down with it, it releases the ink and it will start to flow. But it's best to do that on a scrap piece of card rather than your actual card. So just little dots in each of the scallops. And then I'm just going to finish off with a little glossy and a little bit of Stardust glitter glue, of course. And actually, I think I might, because I didn't have this flower on my other one. Let's just do one more dot. So then the rest is hidden. That's good. So just drawing a little dot with a white pen. It really draws your eye to the scallops now, so much more. And I might just do a little bit of white gel pen. I'm going to take the detail away from the flower, but it will really show on the top one more than the bottom one, because the bottom one's in quite a lot of much softer ink. There, I've got a little white flower. Okay, so now we need now these came, the colour that is on Tutti Frutti, the pink, is absolutely perfect with this saltwater taffy. It just perfect. In actual fact, I wonder if this is too big. Let's have a look. I'm wondering whether to put a little, oh no, right, I need another one now. I bet I won't have another one. I need another set of Tutti Frutti. No, I don't think I have. Oh, isn't that typical? Oh, no, that's the other one. Oh no, there it is. There's one. There's a set. There we go. Right, so can pick this little tiny one up and pop that down in there. Perfect. So that's my glosses. So the Tutti Frutti goes with saltwater taffy beautifully. And then, whoops, just with a little bit of Stickles glitter glue again. Just a little scribble in each of the petals on that detail, and a little bit on each of the leaves, and that's it. So again, I haven't been looking at any of the questions. I know that Hazel's watching. I think that Hazel might be answering some bits anyway. But how beautiful is that? Well, I hope you think it's beautiful. Oh, there's a heart. Lovely. I do love the little stamps. I think they're so useful. They make such a difference to the cards as well. Okay, so on to our last one. How are we doing for time? Oh, not too bad. I don't know about you, but it's actually quite nice to have something on a Friday night. I was talking to Monica, who I know from Stampin' Up from years and years ago, and we were talking about plants and bulbs and gardens and stuff, and it was like, oh, how our lives have changed. Bless her. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this, and like I say, I was totally inspired by Joe's card here. So I did have a card that I made that I can't show you yet because it's got new product on it, and I can't wait to bring these out and show you something new that's coming. But we should have that in a few weeks' time. I've ordered them today, so. But I actually made this little stencil from the diamond as well. So you don't have to do a big one. If you only want to do a little area, or you only want to have little bits, you can build this up. You can do it this way, you can turn it up the other way, you could have it going across in lines. That would be rather nice. So, you know, have a play around with it. Don't think that you have to make it this size. Joe's is different to mine. You know, I don't know whether Joe did a row of diamonds and then did it, or whether she's actually cut. Actually, Joe, tell us what you did. Did you cut like all those diamonds in a piece of card to make a stencil, to do that down the edge? Be really interesting to know. Okay, so I'm going to take a card, and this time it is a 5x7 card. And I'm going to do my bit of stenciling first of all. So put Joe's to one side, don't want to spoil it. And I'm going to bring, I don't take my stencils down, you can do if you want to. I'm going to pick up my ink again, take the excess off. And I like to start so it's on and off the page as well. So you want to make sure you've sort of got it straight. And then just bring in some colour. You can go, I usually do things, the stenciling, quite pale in the background. Don't want it to be too dark, but I will do it dark enough this time, like so you can see it. So maybe you want to think about that when you're doing it, whether you want it as dark as I'm doing it. But I want you to be able to see it on the camera. So then I'm going to move this across a little bit. Obviously you need to keep your card straight so that you're doing it in line with the bit that you've already got. And then we can come down, like I say, you can do it as soft as you want, as dark as you want, but I do tend to like the stenciling to be a bit pale in the background, if you like. But it is also nice as well if you just catch certain areas. So I've got a bit more colour in different areas on the diamonds as well. I'm just loving it. I just think it's such a clever idea from a die, you know, and it was a rectangle die as well. I mean, I'm so glad we put these different shapes in the middle, like the flowers and what have you. I think it just adds so much value to the die set as well. Gives you so much more versatility. And just the little bits around the edge, they are really important to do as well. Just to add those extra little bits and pieces. And then we'll just have a piece down the bottom. And then that way I think I've done odd numbers as well, haven't I? Yes, I've done like 5 pieces. So that, I think that looks fab. Well happy with that. So I obviously keep my stencil and I will use it again and again and again until the piece of card is no longer. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp my buttons out. Don't think I pulled myself any card for that. Okay, so I picked from the floral buttons, I picked this the lovely flowery one, so I'm going to use that for this one. And I'm going to use the empty circle, might as well get them all out. And I've done thinking of you, so we'll have just for you this time. And I also took the little flower that comes in the daisy buttons, and I stamped several of these and cut them out, and I've done that already so that we don't have to do that. Where's my heart gone? Oh no, have I lost my heart stamp? It'll be here somewhere, but it's not in its place. Oh no. Okay, this is where I have to start checking everything. Okay, I will find it. I will find it because it's a heart. Can't lose my heart. Okay, so I've got a bit of super smooth, and pop that in my press. And I want a couple of these ones, and I want one of the circle, and I don't need the just for you at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to actually stamp these in the pink in the saltwater taffy. Excuse me. Oh, so when I'm inking it up, you want to give it a little bit of a twist, because you want to make sure that both types of the ink come out, because it's actually the mixture of the ink that makes it so lovely to stamp with and so good to get the details. And also the ink pads are never very flat, so you almost need to move them about a little bit to make sure you get all the impression, so you've got all the bits in the middle. Okay, so I know I only really need another circle, but I'm just going to leave them where they are and just stamp another one. Okay, whoops. And again, you need to apply enough pressure, but don't press too hard, because you don't want to lose any of that lovely fine detail, and you've got all those lovely little dots around it as well. So I'm so chuffed with how these came out with the little dots. Really liking that look. Greetings from South Africa. Hello. What time is it in South Africa? How lovely of you to join us, though. Okay, so now I can take the just for you, and I'm going to pop that down in my circle, pick it up, and again stamp it out in the pink, in the saltwater taffy. There was something on the back of your stamp book. Oh, is there? Oh, I think it's a bit of tape. I did look at that. It's a bit of tape though. Thank you. I'm sure I'll have a look on the back of the die one. It will be here somewhere, but there's so much, so I won't say rubbish, but there's so many bits out on my desk, but I'm sure it will turn up. It does usually, and I'll have a good root around on the floor as well. Okay, so putting my just you away. So what I did with these was I hand cut these. You could die cut them if you wanted to with the circle dies, but I'm just going to give them a quick blast, because the ink is quite wet and I can see it's wet still. And one thing I learnt the other day is if you dry it on a glass mat, like flat on the mat, you're going to cause condensation on the back. If you hold it, the air can travel through the card and it will dry quicker, because you don't get that puddle of water underneath on the actual glass mat. So if you want it to dry a little bit quicker, just hold it up and let the air circulate through the card. Okay, so now I've got my scissors, and I want both of those and that one. How wasteful, never mind. Okay, so I'm going to bring the card back in so I can hide that horrible light. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. And we'll bring the card back in that we're going to use as we're going to do it on. And when I cut out, I'm just leaving a little border, but I'm following all the wobbly lines because I really like them. So if you want to cut it with a circle die, what I would recommend is just to go around with an ink pad. So when you cut it out with a circle die, then go around with not an ink pad, a sponge and some ink, and just blend around the edges, and that will soften the look. And it actually makes it tie in with the circle dies a little bit better. But I don't mind the wobbliness. I love it. So I think it's the hand-drawn element. I love the double lines and everything. Like Paula said, like it's almost like they're your double lines now. So, and then cut this, my sentiment as well. When I showed the design team, the stamps, it was like, shall I make them perfect circles? Because I was worried, shouldn't I? And it was actually Hazel that said no, because that's what makes it quirky in your design. So we kept them. So then what I'm going to do is just with what's ever on my brush, just soften around the edge with my blending brush. And that the reason I'm doing that is because it's going to go onto the white of the card, and I want it to stand off. If it was just white on white, it doesn't show up as much. So by just softening around the edges with my whatever ink is left on my brush, that just helps it to pop off your card a little bit more. Okay, so then I'm going to get some foam pads, and we're going to pick one of them, and I'm going to place this one down towards the bottom, roughly where I want it. I love this. Now, Philippa did this, where she turned the design like so that the flowers was like falling down, and I loved that. Now I don't want them lined up, so I want them to be sort of offset a little bit, and I want a little bit of a gap between them as well. So then I can fill that gap with my sentiment. And what I do is I want that to be doubled up. So I fold my foam pad in half, stick that on the back of my sentiment. So now that's got a double lot of foam pad on it. And then I can just tuck this in between the two of them. And because it's higher, then it's going to be prouder, and I can get it over the top of the flowers. So then I've already done my flowers. So I've already stamped, coloured. So I just did this with a wet paintbrush. So to pull out some colour on the flowers, if you literally just go over your flower with the water brush and over the leaves, then that's going to pull out some of that colour really softly, but it's just going to draw your eye to those details a little bit more. And if you wanted to, you could put some glitter glue on them as well. You can add more colour in if you want them to be more prominent, but I was really happy. I wanted it just to be really nice and soft. Okay, so then I'm going to add in some flowers. So I'm going to have one, whoops, going to have one at the top. Then I do like to usually lay these out and actually see where I'm going to go with them. Usually have two at the bottom, and I do two towards the bottom because it's heavier and it sits nicely with the design if the two is towards the bottom. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue down here and another bit. So you can have them nice and close. Going to have one to go on my wording, making sure that it doesn't touch the wording, so you can still read it okay. And then, yeah, I do think I want it where I've got it originally. Oh, you could actually do it so it overlaps a little bit, overhangs both. That'd be nice. And then I went round and I added little glosses to the centres. So I'm actually going to use Tutti Frutti again, and I'm going to mix the two. So the rosy pink, which is just perfect for the saltwater taffy, and I'm going to mix it in with this deeper pink as well. So it's just going to have that little bit of contrast. If I can pick it up with my with my scalpel. Okay, and we'll put one in there, and then we'll just have one more hot pink up the top there. Okay, now can you see the difference that little heart makes? Just putting those little designs, higgledy-piggledy. I was hoping it might have been on my stamp, but never mind. Right, let me have a look and let me find something else to use. So in the set, what have we got? We've got 3 dots. We've got, oh, we could have the little sprig. Let's use the little sprig. Okay, so let's bring saltwater taffy back in. Make sure that you do check that it's nicely inked up. Oh, if I hadn't put them down, I could have actually stamped these with the sprig coming out from behind the circle. Okay, so we'll have a couple there. I loved how Hazel did this on one of her cards. And we need a bit down here now. And it's really nice to stamp over the stenciling a little bit as well. Okay, so I think, oh, glitter glue. Have to put glitter glue on it. Right, so what I did was, where the lines are in the bottom of the flowers, I just put a little bit on there. So that draws your eye to the flowers a little bit. And then because I wanted it to be about the sentiment, I put a little bit of glitter glue around my sentiment. And that was it. So, another card. So let me bring the other cards back in. Oh, we did different ones, didn't we? Let's bring them all back in. I don't know if you'll be able to see them all. We could have those there. Can you see there? Yeah. And there. Oh, yeah. So, let me put my scissors on there because that'll help, because it's not on a flat surface. Let's move this. Aren't I terrible, honestly? So, I hope you've enjoyed that. Some different cards, even though I've made the same ones again, they're different. So yeah, so let me switch the camera back round. Hold on. And let me see if I can come in. So that's the sort of thing that I'm going to do for each of the die sets. I just thought it'd be really nice to concentrate on some different ways maybe to use them, and to give you some ideas. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and have a lovely weekend. What else do I need to tell you? So I will post on my Facebook page when I will be doing them next week, and I'm also going to be posting when I'm going to do the workshop in Ada St Catherine's Hospital in memory of my mum, on the 29th of April, I think I said. So I will post about that very soon. I need to work it all out and how's the best way to do it, because I do have a Just Giving page for mum, so I might do it that you pay direct to there, or get you to pay me and then I'll just do a lump sum. I need to work it out. I need to make the cards as well. Oh, actually no, I've made the cards, but it's with the new products, so can't really share them yet. Anyway, we'll sort all that out. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I've had a lovely evening. Hope you have too. And I will see you soon. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you get thoroughly spoilt on Mother's Day for all you mummies out there. And yeah, have a lovely weekend. Enjoy that sunshine. See you soon. Bye.